So this is the final round of the Ascendancy Mini-Tournament. I'm playing against Dax, and here are all the teams that we could choose from. My teams are more about survivability and having pressure without having to commit, and Dax's teams are more frail and more aggressive in their nature. My teams are a lot more bulky and meta, and Dax is a bit off meta and doesn't have much survivability. So here at the start I swapped too much and forced myself into a swap lag, which I can't do anything about, and Dax just avoids that. So we got the drain onto the Aussie there to stop them from attacking the Swordy, but we don't swap the Falcon and the Aussie ends up hitting the Falcon, which does a lot of damage. Then we use our Falcon Heavy onto a shield, which is not good. And now we're just on the back foot for the rest of this game. The Swordy gets down to like 2 health or something, so I need to swap them out, which I do, but really I should have just healed them as the rejuve came in time. And now my Falcon is also dead, so this is not looking good at all. And here, thankfully, the Aussie doesn't drain the Sentry, which would have been really bad, and we get the kill off onto the Aussie there. And now the Sentry is also quite low, so we have to let the Martia Heavy onto Floss, which is really bad because Martia has the Tank Buster trait, so it does a lot of damage. And here I'm just waiting for the Floss to attack before I swap in the Swordy, but I was forced to rejuve the Sentry there because they're extremely low health, so I have to wait till they use their charged attack so I can bring the Swordy in and heal them so they don't get bolted by Dax. Here we get a nice shot onto Falcon, but because Gusto's neither strengthened nor has its Berserk active, it doesn't do that much damage to it. But now we finally get the Swordy charged attack, which strengthens the Gusto, but it's a little late into the game because it is already double damage. So here the Gusto unfortunately heavies the Dean. That heavy there would have killed the Martia if we landed it, and now Falcon just kills Sentry and the game's pretty much over as Martia gets the Bloodlust strengthen, and there's nothing I can really do because Martia is just going to shred through everything. And even if I kill the Martia, there's still the Falcon. So Dax takes the first game. I played pretty poorly, was wasting lots of mana. I could have done so much more, but I kind of just sat there and died. So Dax chooses the Martia again, and this team kind of counters it as it's all supports. There's no tanks, so the Martia doesn't get any value from one of their passives, so they're basically a rare pixeling at this point. We get a nice start, forcing them to swap out the Falcon because of the troll targeting, and here we also managed to get a hit onto the Martia, which means that the trolls will now be targeting Martia. So we're off to a really good start here, and just bolt that to make sure and force them to swap out. So now all we need to do is get a hit onto the Aussie with the Pewds, and we're pretty much set for the rest of the game as all their important pixelings are chipped down. Unfortunately, we hit the Bob there, though it was a swap lag, and if there wasn't any delay, we would have hit the Aussie there. So landing the heavy onto the Matsuya there is absolutely massive, because now they're pretty much going to die. If we hit this Tad shot, which we don't because of the swap flag, then the Matsuya would die, but we can get them down with the Zord and just some cheeky bulk spam. So there we get the strengthen from the Tad, managed to kill the Falcon there, get a heavy to absolutely annihilate the Dean, and now we get a nice swap in to block most of the Aussie damage with the Shroud, and we just kill the Aussie there and get a nice flawless game after a loss, which is really good for the mental. So Dax decides to run the Matsuya for the third time in a row, and this team has quite a few tanky, non-tank pixelings, so once again we can kind of ruin the Matsuya's passive there. We also get a nice shot onto the Falcon at the start, which forces them to swap out because of the troll targeting once again. We also get an insane troll shot crit from the Lola onto the Aussie. So there I didn't want to take any chances with having the Swordy drained, so I just swapped him out for the Floss and swap him back in again so that we can strengthen the Felix. So here we're just waiting for the Matsuya to attack before we swap in the Floss so they don't get the tank buster value from that. And we also managed to hit the Aussie there even though we wanted the Matsuya, but swap lag, and we get a nice swap there so that the Aussie drains the Floss, which does absolutely nothing. And then the Pix hits the Aussie, which needs to be swapped out now because of the poison and the bolt spam that I can do. The Matsuya does get a massive hit onto the Floss there, and we can't retaliate by hitting the Matsuya back, but still we have lots of pressure on them right now, and we just swap in the Lola as the other two pixelings are low and block the Matsuya with the Felix there. And now we finally get a hit onto the Matsuya, which does lots of damage, and we get a follow-up as well. So there they were forced to sacrifice a pixeling and they chose the Aussie, and we have so much control now. doesn't matter that we missed the falcon because I can just bolt it and the Lola will kill it. We also have a Pix there which can be used as a bomb just to make sure that they can't do anything. And that's the third game done. So Dax finally decided that the Marcia wasn't good and he went for his Watersheep team. I picked the Zord, which has a Tad Sentry, which is just the double Shroud Menace, so that their triple range can't do anything against it. And if I kill the Baxter early at the start, then they'd pretty much ruin their chances of winning. So here we get a ridiculous crit onto the Baxter by the Sentry, and now 2 of their important Pixlings, and now 3 are all on low health and can be targeted by the Trolls. Here we just pop the bubble and try get a hit onto the Baxter, which we managed to do. So now that we've killed the Baxter, we are pretty much guaranteed to get a win here because just of how much health we have with the Shrouded against his triple range that are left. That bolt there forces them to rejuve. I probably should have waited until right before Zord was going to attack before I bolted, so they didn't have any time to get the rejuve off. But it's fine, and now we heal up with the Sentry and tank with the Tad Shrouded. My main goal is just using Zord for tanking damage against the Karma and alternating between Tad and Sentry for damage between the ranged, and we also get a nice combo there. I preempted the bolt there, but Dax manages to get the double bolt off and kill my Zord before I can heal it. But it doesn't matter because now I can bring out a full health Maya, and we do miss the Vlad there, which would have killed with the bolt, but it's fine anyway because I have 4 Pixlings left and they have 2. So that is the final game. I managed to beat Dax 3-1. Normally he would beat me, but I guess today wasn't his day.